This video is going to be another stock chart analysis video, and today's date is August 5, and ito yung mga stocks na i-review ko for today. So again, kung meron ditong stocks na gusto nyo sanang mapag-usapan pero wala dito sa video na to, you can just comment down below and I'll review those stocks in the next video. So sa recent video, I wasn't able to review the PSEI because I made that video over the weekend. So ngayon, punta tayo sa PSEI para sa overall market conditions. So my last review sa PSEI was around August 1, no, the start of the month. And yung huling itsura ng PSEI noon was nagkaroon siya ng slight recovery, no, from the breakdown dito sa kanyang range. And na-mention ko doon na since the MA100 dalawang beses na siyang nag-support sa PSEI and nag-breakdown siya doon, I was expecting na magkakaroon ng resistance sa MA100. So buti na lang hindi nangyari yun, and kahapon August 4 bumalik na nga yung PSEI sa range niya ulit and na-overcome niya yung MA100. So I can remove these arrows na lang para mas clear. So bumalik na yung PSEI sa range niya, so this rectangle na drawing ko before, and it looks like nagkakaroon naman ngayon ng resistance sa MA20 and MA50. But if we're going to remove yung box niya na to, yung possible consolidation range niya, no, and tanggalin ko din yung arrow, it looks like the PSEI is moving in a channel. So ito yung point A and then point B, and then extend lang natin. So ayan yung upper part ng trend line niya, no. So this is in the short term kasi this all happened itong July lang, no. So na-confirm na nag-act as resistance yung trend line. So twice. So ito lang, no. And ito yung bottom part ng trend line. So point A and then point B. So it could be a channel or it could be a falling wedge. Pero leaning more on ako na channel siya. So if we're going to look at the patterns of this chart, that means pwedeng gumalaw, no, yung PSEI around this area. Pero sabi nga natin, meron tayong support dito sa around 6.2 na level. So ito kasi siya, no. So ibig sabihin for the PSEI to go above 6.461, so ito kasi yung high niya, no, which is the point B nitong trend line. Kailangan niya munang makalabas dito sa upper part ng trend line niya, no. And I think kailangan niya rin ma-overcome yung MA20 and MA50. Pero hindi pa rin tayo magiging bullish dyan na very optimistic because as I mentioned sa previous video ko, ito na yung pwede natin makonsider as the range ng PSEI, no? And mahaba-habang consolidation to. So magiging optimistic lang talaga tayo sa PSEI pag nalagpasan niya ito, no? Yung 6591, which is yung upper part ng range niya nung second week ng May pa. And ultimately, itong 6661 na level kasi ayan talaga yung key level resistance niya, no, para confirmed na talaga yung uptrend ng PSEI. So in the short term or the immediate period, kailangan niya muna talagang makalagpas dito sa MA20 and MA50 tapos sa upper part ng trend line para magkaroon siya ng chance na i-test yung upper part ng consolidation niya na to. So kung magiging bearish tayo at magre-resist lang din tong area na to, then it's possible, no? Then i-revisit niya lang ulit yung bottom part ng range, or kung malakas talaga yung support ng trend line na to, then pwede niyang maging support yung trend line or pwede niyang sundan for the second time na i-revisit niya yung trend line na yun. So, since bumalik na yung PSEI sa loob ng range, it's much better na dito na lang siya din ulit makahanap ng support kung magiging bearish man or magkakaroon ng bentahan in the coming days or weeks. Kasi pag dito siya sa trend line pumunta, baka maging mahina lang na support to kasi trend line lang. And with heavy selling or increased selling, no, pwede pa talaga siyang umabot ng 5.860 or 5.8 levels. So, dapat kung magkakaroon man ng bearish sentiment, hanggang dito na lang siya sa double bottom support niya, no. So punta tayo sa unang stock na i-review natin. So that's Globe. So sa Globe, I remember reviewing this before. Hindi ko lang ulit sure kung bakit nawala yung mga drawings. So anyway, ulitin ko lang ulit yung mga horizontal lines na nag-indicate ng resistance and support niya at the current levels. So dito sa Globe, significant talaga, no, yung MA20 sa chart na to because as you can see, several times talaga na MA20 yung nagiging resistance ng stock na to. So since May, 4 times nag-resist yung MA20 at nagpigil sa price para magkaroon ng downtrend. Pero simula nung nagkaroon siya ng breakout tapos hindi na bumaba, simula end of July, no, July 29, somehow nagkaroon ng price rally yung Glow, and from that breakout na confirmed, nag-increase na siya ng 3.71%. But since your MA20 naging resistance ng stock na to, so obviously MA50, you can also consider the MA50 and MA100 as possible resistances for this stock. So, ngayon, mukhang nagkaroon ulit siya ng breakout sa MAs, pero hindi pa natin masasabing confirmed, no, unless may magandang follow-through or mag-consolidate na lang siya above ng MA50. So, pag nag-breakdown pa kasi siya dito, then it might revisit yung MA20 as the support kasi hindi pa siya nagkakaroon ng pullback sa MA20 eh. Pero if I'm going to look at the resistance of this stock, sa ngayon, andito talaga siya sa resistance level niya, no? So, 1748 kasi, I'd consider is the R1 kasi meron tayong previous support dito eh. So, twice siya naging support last third week to end week of May. And as you can see, nagkaroon siya ng role reversal sa area na to. Naging siyang resistance talaga nung July 3. And nagkamaliit na overshoot ito nung July 3. So, that's 1766. So, pwede na rin natin makonsider yung 1766 as the possible resistance too. So, I'll just label this as R1. Since medyo malapit sila sa isa't isa, we can use that as R1. So, 1748 to 1766. Pag nalagpasan niya to, given na hindi na siya bumalik no sa MA20 and mag-support talaga yung MA50, so the next possible resistance for the stock, which is R2, is your 1843. And of course, ayun nga, nakaabang na yung MA100. And for the support of this stock, sa structure supports natin, kung hindi natin masyadong isipin muna yung mga MAs, nagkaroon kasi ito ng significant support around 1624 na area. So, makukonsider natin ito as S1. So, 1624 as our first support. So, ibig sabihin, kung hindi mag-hold yung MA50, hindi mag-hold yung MA20, then it's possible na i-revisit niya lang din ulit yung support niya sa S1. So now that we established the R1 and S1, this means ito lang yung pwedeng galawan ng globe kung hindi magkakaroon ng significant price rally. So, consolidation, no? So, if a price rally does not happen, kung hindi mag-increase yung volume, hindi mag-increase yung buying pressure, then I see globe as accumulating around this area. And kaya niya naman puntahan itong mga ranges na yan because from the bottom of the range to the upper part of the range, 8%, no? So, ibig sabihin, in a span of a few days, kaya niyang gawin yan. So, between 3 to 5 days, pwede siyang pumunta sa taas or sa baba. So, it really depends on the buying and selling pressure of the market players kung yung stock na to magbe-breakout pa ba further to test yung R2 or it's going to break down sa S1. And pag nag-breakdown yan sa S1, tingnan natin yung next possible support. So, medyo malalim na pala. So, nearly 5 years ago pa yung kanyang next support. So, that's around 1563 na level. So, 1563 as your S2. So, pag nag-breakdown siya dito, ito yung next possible support niya. And 5 years ago pa niya yun na support. So, fundamentally, is it possible na the reason why Globe is decreasing in price is because of yung konektadong Pinoy na bill, no? So, ini-aim kasi nun na mas padaliin yung regulations and requirements for new players to enter the telco space, no? And clearly, sinabi talaga doon na kailangan na daw itigil yung mga monopoly or mga duopoly. So, of course, pinapatamaan nila yung Globe tsaka PLDT doon. So, probably market players are a bit scared na magkakaroon na naman ng further competition yung Globe. So, meron na nga silang kalaban sa Converge and sa dito. So, kung madadagdagan pa, no, it means possible decrease in income. And also, one of the reasons kasi kung bakit nag-increase yung price ng Globe before. So, if you're going to look at the prices niya last year, so from February to April of 2024, no, nag-increase yung price ng Globe after accumulation. Nag-increase siya ng almost 42-43%. So, ang hype kasi nun dito is mag-IPO na daw yung GCash. And as you all know, Globe has a significant ownership sa GCash. So, alam naman natin yun. So, inaasahan siguro ng ibang market players na pag nag-IPO yung GCash, makaka-increase yun sa value ng Globe. So, since hindi nangyayari, negative sentiments, yung konektadong Pinoy bill plus the delayed IPO of GCash. So, walang incentive para sa market players na hawakan tong stock na to. So, sa ngayon, it's too early to say kung bullish na ba talaga to or positive sentiment na. So, wala namang lumalabas na news. And nangyayari din to sa TEL recently, no? Nag-increase yung price niya. So, tingnan natin in the coming days or weeks kung kaya bang mag-breakout ng Globe. So, next stock, ABA. So, yung ABA, currently, the MA50 is resisting. So, tanggal natin yung MA20 muna kasi medyo nagugulo siya eh. So, on the moving resistances or moving supports, you can see that yung MA50 is acting as a significant moving resistance sa stock na to. So, halos twice, no? In the span of a month. So, during this time, naging support siya tapos naging resistance din. and ngayon nagre-resist na. And sa support naman, it looks like the MA100 is acting as the support for this stock. So 2 or 3 instances na hindi siya nag-close below the MA100. So previously, yung ABA was moving in a channel, no? So ito yung point A, point B, and then pag in-extend natin, ito siya. So 2 instances na nagkaroon siya ng resistance and nag-breakout siya dito sa channel niya nung July 28. And ito yung bottom part ng channel na yon. So yun yung support. So nag-breakout yung ABA sa channel niya nung July 28 pero nag-resist yung MA50. So sa ngayon, we can consider the MA50 as its main resistance, but if we're going to look sa structure, then obviously ito yan. So tanggalin ko na tong itsura ng mga channel na to since nakapag-breakout na siya dyan. So it's possible na it's going to range muna before mag-decide if it's going to break down or break out from these prices. So since this is the range high, so that's 0.70. So 0.70 is kukonsider natin as R1. And after that, meron agad tayong resistance dito, no, sa 0.74. So just a few ticks after that. R2 is 0.74 and meron agad tayong resistance dito sa 0.82 na malapit. So madami-daming resistance agad for ABA in a span of just a few ticks, no? Meron na tayong established resistances from R1 to R3. And for your support, so the bottom of the range is 0.60. So of course, we're going to consider this as S1. So, S1 at 0.60. And for the support, I can see na merong support dito sa 0.51 before. So, dito nagkaroon ng pullback. And ang recent swing low niya kasi, which is the point B of the bottom part of the trend line is 0.52. So, pwede na nating makonsider yung 0.51 and 0.52 as your S2. So, labas natin yung MA100. So, this means your ABA can move from 0.60 to 0.70. So, dito siya pwedeng magkaroon ng consolidation. And kaya niyang puntahan yung range na to within 1 to 2 days lang kasi volatile tong ABA eh. So, kaya niyang mag 15% move in 1 to 2 days. So, nakadepende na lang sa buying pressure. Kasi kung buying pressure yung mas malakas, then of course, it will test again MA50 and your 0.70 resistance. But at current levels, kung magkakaroon tayo ng selling pressure, it might revisit your MA100 again. And kung hindi niya kayang suportahan yan around that level, then of course, S2 yung next natin na support dyan. So I don't see the MA20 as doing anything sa ngayon. Kasi kung maglalaro lang yung prices dito, ang ending yung MA20 nasa gitna lang nila. So clearly, it's a short-term consolidation. So ito yung dapat na abangan sa ABA, no? Pag nag-breakout siya sa R1, pwedeng dito na siya magkaroon ng consolidation near R2 or sa R2 ka agad siya mag-test and dito siya magkaroon ng consolidation ulit para i-test yung R3. So yan yung mga dapat abangan dito sa ABA. So next up, ABG. So ABG or Asia Best. So it's still suspended. So as you can see, since first week December of last year. So magi 8 months na ba na suspended. And if you're not familiar with what happened to ABG, so puntahan natin yung mga disclosures niya, no? So story time muna tayo. So around October, sobrang flat lang nung galawan ng ABG, no? Nagko-consolidate lang siya. Wala masyadong volume. Somehow nagkaroon ng spike nung August 15. Then by third week of October, no, biglang gradually nag-increase yung volume tapos biglang tumaas ng tumaas. So from October levels, nag-increase yung price ng ABG by more than 370%. So it closed 363. But yung peak, umabot ng 389. So, depende kung saan ka dyan magbe-base. Pwede nating masabing halos 400% yung increase ng ABG. So, during this time kasi, a lot of market players knew that yung majority ng shares ng ABG was owned by Tiger Resort Asia, no? And that corporation or that company owns Okada. So, usap-usapan, rumors noon na if ever magkataon na Okada wants to be a part of the Philippine Stock Exchange, since majority shareholder sila ng ABG, pwedeng mag-backdoor na lang sila, no? So, compared sa mag-IPO pa talaga sila, pwedeng mag-backdoor listing na lang sila through ABG. So, of course, a lot of people will be hyped about that news kasi syempre, every time naman nagkakaroon ng mga bagong listing, whether that's IPO or backdoor, no, madalas nagkakaroon ng hype, nagkakaroon ng chismis, speculation. Of course, the valuation and the prices of these stocks, halos hindi mo na talaga maintindihan kung paano nila pinaprice in yung mga ganun kasi nga, puro hype na talaga yung nananaig no sa sentiment ng market. But unfortunately, around first week ng December, ito na nga may lumabas na mga disclosure. And this was the first disclosure no around December 5 and 6. So sabi dito, yung ABG, naglabas sila ng disclosure na we were informed by our major stockholder, so Tiger Resort Asia, which owns 66.67%. So basically 2/3 ng ABG is pagmamay-ari ng Tiger Resort, no? Yung Tiger Resort daw is nagkaroon ng share purchase agreement with PLC. So, ibig sabihin, ibibenta ng Tiger Resort yung shares nila na nasa ABG papunta sa PLC. So, pag nangyari yun, ano yung gustong sabihin nun? Kung ibibenta ng Tiger Resort yung majority of shares nila sa ABG, halos synonymous na yon sa sinasabi nila na hindi na kami magba-backdoor listing sa ABG. Kasi kung may plano sana silang mag-backdoor, ba't nila ibibenta yung shares na hawak nila sa company na yun, di ba? Unless, mas gusto nila na IPO. So, either way, kung mag-IPO sila sa sarili nila, it's still a bad thing, no? Sa ABG kasi hindi na nga magba-backdoor yung Okada sa kanila. So, very negative yung sentiment na yun. And since umangat na nga yung price ng stock, PSC of course decided to suspend yung stock, 'di ba? And ito yung naging sunod nila na disclosure, so December 6. So yung isa kasi December 5, 'di ba? So by December 6, clarify nila yung nilabas na news ng Manila Standard na Okada Group drops backdoor listing plan and sells their stake in Asia Best. So sabi dito ng Okada Group, no, considering that the financial performance of Okada Manila, operated by Tiger Resorts nga, has been growing steadily and performing well in the past years, they have judged that the necessity of Asia Best for Tiger Resorts to be listed no longer exists. So yun nga, kinonfirm na nila, no, sinabi nila na hindi na nga daw sila interested for the backdoor listing. And yung sinasabi kanina na gustong ibenta ng Tiger Resort yung shares nila sa ABG, nagkausapan na 2.55 yung na-agree nila na price na ibenta yun sa PLC. So, that's amounting to more than 500 million pesos. So, syempre, if we're going to look at the stock, yung price ng stock is nasa 26 na, pero yung price kung saan sila nakapag-agree is around 2.55. So, sobrang baba nun, diba? So, halos 90% yung difference, negative 90% from the current prices nung first week ng December. So, another clarification of a news report, no, lumabas ng January 9, so a month after. So, nasuspend na nga sila kasi syempre, gusto ng exchange na makapagbigay pa ng further details yung ABG regarding sa nangyayari. So, ayaw nilang hayaan na may trading pa rin nangyayari na wala pang significant news. So, dito nga sinabi na ibebenta na nga daw, no, ng Tiger Resorts yung shares nila sa ABG kay Francis Lloyd Chua of PLC. And sinabi rin dito na na-acquire nga nila yun ng 2.55. So, they were planning to make a tender offer. So, basically, sinasabi nila na kami na yung magiging majority shareholder dito sa ABG, and sa mga public shares pa na available, no, willing silang bilhin yung mga shares na yon at 2.55 per share. And natuloy nga yung plano na yon because around April, no, nagsabi sila na April 14 magsa-start yung tender offer na 2.55 per share and mag-i-end yung tender offer na yon by May 16. So around 1 month, which allows them to buy further shares sa ganung price sa public. And ito yung latest nila na material information na another disclosure, so dated July 31, so just a few days ago. Sinasabi dito na yung transfer of shares nga daw ng Tiger Resort towards PLC has been further rescheduled to August 8. So, of course, hanggat hindi pa na fully transact or hindi pa nagkakapalitan talaga ng shares, syempre hindi pa pwedeng ipatuloy yung trading kasi wala pang kasiguraduhan, no? Wala pang finalization pagdating dito sa mga shares na to. So, nakalagay August 8 pero estimated pa. So, hindi ibig sabihin na August 8 done na yung deal kasi pwedeng magkaroon pa ng mga delays at kung ano-ano pa. So, pwede pang ma-extend. So, pagdating dito sa mangyari sa ABG, so, ayun nga, from these prices, no, 26.20, tapos ang tender offer is 2.55. So that means yung mismong mga owners ng company at yung buyer, somehow nag-a-agree sila na 2.55 yung intrinsic na value ng company, di ba? Kasi kung alam nilang mas higher yan dyan, di dapat at a much higher price. So, ibig sabihin, yung mismong mga owners, mismong mga analysts, no? I even saw one article na sinasabi nila na fair lang daw na ang tender offer is around 2.55. So, that means karamihan or halos lahat sila nag-a-agree na 2.55. So, syempre, kawawa yung mga retailers or investing public na nakabili ng shares na to around 3 pataas, no? Kasi kung yung hawak mo around 3 pataas, tapos vina-value lang mismo ng mga owners ng company yung shares nila at 2.55, then sobrang baba nun because at the price of 3, that's still a drop of 15%. Tapos ipit ka pa ng sobrang tagal, 7 or 8 months na. And we're talking about a price of 3 here, diba? Kasi kung pataas pa, which is majority of the retailers, kasi nagkaroon ng hype to around 2nd week, 3rd week, October nga eh. So malamang, lahat ng nakakuha dito, yung prices somewhere around this momentum move upwards, no? So, lahat lugi. So, pag halimbawa, nag-open na ulit yung trading nito, let's say, maplansya na nila lahat ng mga transactions by 2nd week August or probably 3rd week August or even September, then mahirap na basihan natin yung mga possible support and resistances niya because what will happen in this stock is very sentiment driven because andito yung mga market makers, andito yung mga owners ng company and they all determined na 2.55 nga yung price per share na value ng company nila tapos ngayon nasa 26, diba? So, ibig sabihin, karamihan ng mga nakapasok dito above that price. Siyempre, matatakot sila. Siguro isipin nila, paunahan na lang ng benta dyan, diba? Kasi kung nakakuha ka around 20 plus, mas pipiliin mo ng makabenta around 18 or 17 pesos kahit pa may more than 10% drop ka compared sa 2.55, diba? Pero ayun lang, pwedeng hindi nga siya mabenta sa ganung price kasi sinong bibili ng stock na to above 2.55, diba? Kung nasasabi nga nila na 2.55 yung value. Pero ayun lang yung nasasabi natin at the current information na meron tayo based sa disclosures nila, diba? Kasi wala pa nga atang nafa-finalize kung ano ba yung gustong gawin ng nag-take over sa ABG. May mga sinasabi lang regarding sa housing at kung ano-ano pa, pero wala pa talagang finalized na report na ito yung mangyayari. So, it's very sentiment-driven, which usually happens sa mga stock na nasuspend tapos na-open, no? Mahirap i-base sa mga usual support areas kung saan magkakaroon ng drop in price kasi in just a span of a few minutes pwede niyang malagpasan yung mga support na yun kasi nga papasok na dito yung lahat ng type ng investors or lahat ng traders eh. Pwedeng may papasok kasi gusto nilang makamura, pwedeng may mga traders na pumasok just because of a scalp, nag-aabang sila ng mga bounce play at kung ano-ano pa. Pero for the sake of putting our supports and resistances, so I'll plot the significant levels here. So price had a peak sa 27.55, so around this area. So tingnan natin towards the left kung ano yung obvious na resistance dyan. So, wala akong masyadong nakikita na obvious na resistance kasi yung obvious nito yung double top around 32 pa eh. But I can see a double bottom na support around 25.10. So, around 25 area, no? So, 25.10 pala yung resistance nito. So, actually, before na-release yung disclosure, nag-breakout pa nga pala siya, no? So, ibig sabihin, since nag-breakout na siya sa 25.10, we can consider that as our S1. So, S1 na pala tong level na to. Hindi na siya resistance kasi nag-breakout na siya dyan. So, lagyan natin to ng S1. And if hindi mag-support itong area na to, which most probably will not, kasi nga grabing sentiment nito kung magkaroon ng bentahan, the next structure support is yung previous range niya around 19.92. So, S2 is 19.92 along with your MA20. And then, after that, possible S3 is around 14 price area, 14.46. And then, another range here na tight consolidation lang. Nag-breakout siya dyan. So, the high of that is 9.99. So, merong confluence sa psych resistance sa 10 before. So, pwede na natin gawing S4 yung 10. And kung hindi pa mag-support yung S4, then most likely it can find a support sa range na to. Kasi yan naman yung previous consolidation niya. So, ibig sabihin, the only time that these levels could possibly act as support is kung merong mga traders na matapang na willing pasukin tong stock na to despite all the sentiment surrounding it, no? So, ayun nga, nakadepende sa mga magiging disclosures to kung ano yung magiging galaw ng stock na to. Kasi kung yung analysts at mga owners nag-agree sila na 2.55 yung value lang dapat ng stock tapos wala namang mga significant na sinasabing disclosure, then you'd expect na negative talaga yung magiging sentiment nito. And grabe lang kasi yung price, no, nag-increase na ng sobrang taas, diba? More than 300, nearly 400%. Tapos yung tender offer is 2.55, ang baba. So hindi rin nakakagulat siguro na may mga ibang tao na hindi pumayag pumayag dun sa tender offer, no? Kumbaga, makikipagsapalaran na lang sila kung ano yung maging price ng stock pag natanggal na yung suspension. Ayun lang, tenga talaga yung allocation at pera mo because hindi mo alam kung kailan yung pagtanggal ng suspension ng stock na to kasi nga, hindi matapos-tapos yung transactions nila. So, basically, literally ipit ka talaga tas figuratively ipit din, no? Kasi kung hindi ka papayag dun sa tender offer na binigay a few months ago, ipit yung holdings mo at andito ka lang. Pero kung binenta mo naman, sobrang lugi. So, sobrang unfair somehow at ang lungkot at nangyari na ganito. So, just goes to show, no, na kahit ang stock pataas, sobrang trending niya and up ka na ng more than 100, 200, 300%, hindi mo pa rin talaga mapipredict kung ano yung pwedeng mangyari. So, that's why it's very important, no, na when you enter a stock, dapat meron kang exit plan. Whether that's your trail stop, your target price, no. Kung hindi ka naman investor, kung trader ka, dapat nakaset yung mga exit strategy mo para somehow makalock in ka ng profits. Kasi lalo sa galaw ng mga speculation, pwedeng mangyari yan. Hindi mo alam na pataas yung stock, akala mo okay lang, akala mo tumataas yung holdings mo, nag-increase yung profits, tapos eventually ma-halt yung stock, tapos suspend kasi nagkakaroon pala ng mga disclosures na sobrang negative. So, sayang nung gains, diba? Kung hindi nakapag-lock in. So, of course, it's a different story kapag investor ka kasi karamihan naman ng mga investors ang exit price nila kapag wala na dun yung fundamental reason kung ba't sila pumasok, diba? Pero as traders, ganun dapat yun lagi. You always have a plan to sell your shares kapag na-hit yung cut loss mo or na-hit yung target prices or your trail stops. So, this is a very expensive lesson sa may mga hawak ng ABG or nakapag-trade ng ABG. So, next up, AUB. So, sa AUB, currently, the high of the stock is 57. So, of course, R1 natin yan. And since the stock is already at an all-time high, then we can assume lang, no, kung saan siya pwedeng magkaroon ng next na resistance, and I usually based it on whole numbers. So, above the recent swing high. And in this case, pwedeng 60 yun. Pero, syempre, psych resistance lang yan. So, hindi ibig sabihin na sure ball or mataas ang chance na magkakaroon ng bentahan. So, again, all-time high yung stock. So, there's no structure resistance towards the left. So, you can't expect na magkakaroon siya ng bentahan sa isang specific area. So, guessing game na lang sa mga ganitong galaw ng stock, no? And obviously, when there is too much selling pressure caused by profit taking from traders who were able to buy the stock at lower prices, syempre magkakaroon tayo ng selling dyan. And sa ngayon nga, mukhang nangyari yun, no? So, nagka-profit take na dito sa AUB because from the peak, it's already dropped by 10%. So, imposibleng walang mga nag-profit take dyan. And na-mention ko yan last time. So, ngayon, yung low ng stock is 50.30. Nagkaroon ng support dyan. Pero bulk of support is around 51 price area. So, ibig sabihin, your AUB can range around this level kung magpapatuloy na magsusupport ito, no? So, we can use 51 as S1 or your support 1 for this stock. And then, after that, pag nag-breakdown siya sa S1, then, most likely, ang i-revisit niya is MA20. And, ayun naman yung madalas na nangyayari sa mga stocks na nagtitrend upwards and hindi ganun ka-established yung kanyang structure support. You can use the MAs as the possible support areas. And kung magiging malalim pa yung drop nun, then of course, it could be your MA50 if eventually makahabol yung MA50, no? If mag-consolidate muna siya before magka-move downward. Pero kung babasihan lang talaga natin yung structure support, then I expect 42 as the next structure support dito kasi ayun yung previous resistance niya eh. Medyo malalim yung next na structure support niya. And of course, magiging malalim talaga yung huling support niya because mataas din yung naging run-up niya eh. So, isipin mo yun, from July 23, hindi pa siya nagkakaroon ng major pullback. So, ngayon pa lang. So, of course, wala kang ma-establish na very good support area during this time kasi walang consolidation, walang pullback na nangyari. So, it's a possibility na from S1, pag nag-drop siya sa MA20, mag-revisit siya dito sa previous resistance niya sa 42, which will become the support. So, ayan yung S2 natin. And sa ngayon, yung AUB has an incoming X date. So, yung X date noon around August 14. So, that's nearly 2 weeks from now and 2%. And gaya ng sinasabi ko lagi when it comes to dividend stocks that have nearing X dates. So, kung ilan yung cash div rate, so in this case, 2%. So, you'd expect na by that time, mag-drop yung stock with the same percentage. So, Ibig sabihin sa AUB, dapat hindi na siya bumaba ng S1. Kasi kung andito lang siya sa 51 to 50.30, tas magdadrop ng 2%, magbe-breakdown talaga siya. And that's not a good look, no, para sa AUB. Unless may mga pumasok na bagong traders or investors to buy that stock para i-prevent yung breakdown. Kasi hindi naman 100% sure na pag may X-date, magdadrop yung stock. Pwedeng may X-date, tumaas siya. Pwedeng nangyari yung X-date, nagdrop ng 2%, tapos natulak pa rin pataas. So, it's still up sa buying pressure sa araw na yon. It's just that during an X-date, mataas yung chance na magdadrop talaga yung stock. And after that, meron na naman tayong X-date, no? The following month. So, September 19, another 2%. So, ibig sabihin, kung magdadrop yung AUB, tapos magko-consolidate lang siya ulit dito, tapos yung prices niya andito lang, tapos magdadrop ulit ng 2%, pwedeng mag-support na yung MA20 doon, or kapag nakahabol yung MA20, pwedeng mag-breakdown siya sa MA20. So, ibig sabihin sa AUB, dapat hindi na siya bumaba ng 50.30 or ng 51 na S1, no? Dapat dito na lang siya maglaro sa range na to or kahit near 57 price area para pag nag-drop siya despite the X dates, andito pa rin tayo sa loob ng range, which will make the stock still have an uptrend na intact. Kasi pag nabasag yung MA20 dyan, then you'd expect either a short-term consolidation or a move further downward para makahanap siya ng major support. So, dapat yung AUB magstay siya sa loob ng range even after the X date ng August, no? Tapos, i-test niya yung mga resistances niya sa R1 at R2 before September comes. So, next up, SECB. So, may previous drawings dito and because I reviewed it before, so, ang na-establish natin na range ng SECB is ito, no? So, green arrow, so, low of 71.90 and the high of that range was 78.40. And meron agad tayong nalagay na resistances dito sa 79.85 and resistance din sa 84. So, in-expect natin dito na pag nag-breakout yung SECB sa kanyang resistance, makaka-encounter siya ng resistance agad dito sa 79.84. And ang gusto sana nating mangyari sa SECB, no, is mag-consolidate siya near sa resistance. So, when buying pressure increases, at least makapag-breakout siya dun sa 80.05 na previous support, which of course is going to be the next resistance. Pero mukhang hindi nangyayari at nahihirapan siya doon. So, nagkaroon na tayo ng double top dito sa R1 niya. So, recent swing high niya is 79.80. So, ilalagay na natin dito your 79.80 as R1 and 82.05 as R2. So, ayan yung dapat malagpasan ng SECB, no, in the coming days. 79.80 tapos 82.05 para mapatuloy niya yung uptrend niya. And meron akong na-plot dito ulit na resistances after that. So, previous support and previous resistance. So, that is a high of 90. Tapos, dito yung low is 90.75. So, ibig sabihin yung R3 natin is 90, no? So, ibig sabihin R3 is 90 and pwede pa rin natin makonsider as R3 yung 90.75. Pero medyo malayo pa yan kasi dapat malagpasan niya muna yung 82 price before niya yun maabot. And for the support of SECB, so that's 75.50. So, andito tayo sa S1, 75.50. And your S2 could possibly be this area. So, previous swing low niya to. So, that's 71.90. So, S2 at 71.90. So, sa ngayon, we can see that SECB is creating another range. So, that's between your S1, which is 75.50 towards a range of 79.80. So, kung lalagyan natin ng box, ito yung pwedeng maging movement ng SECB lang. So, around this area. So, much like the other stocks na napapag-usapan ko madalas sa consolidation, only time can tell kung ano yung gagawin ng SECB. If buying pressure increases, then we can see it testing 79.80 again and to test 82.05 because that's R2. Kung hindi man magso-support yung area na to sa S1, pero mukhang malakas na support to, no, kasi nakaabang din yung MA20, then S2 is your next support. That's around 71.90. Tapos nakaabang yung MA50, no. So, pwedeng magkaroon ng confluence dito. So, ayan yung next na major support niya. So, next up, BRN. So, BRN, recently nagkaroon siya ng breakout sa sa previous swing high niya. So 0.74 yung high nun and hindi na siya nagko-close below 0.74. So we can consider 0.74 as S1. So pwede na siyang maging unang support natin. So resistance to and it can act as support. Pero somehow nagkakaroon ng pag-overshoot, no? So very volatile yung stock since fourth liner to. So micro cap na stock. And kanina lang bumaba siya ng previous resistance niya pero nag-support naman at nagko-close siya doon above. So parehas na siyang nagko-close sa 0.76 in 2 consecutive days. Pero nagkakaroon ng tweezer top na resistance, no, sa 0.79. So of course we can consider 0.79 as R1. So let's look towards the left kung ano yung next na possible resistance. So ayun, kita agad natin. So there are multiple swings here. So meron tayong 0.83 tapos malapit agad sa 0.84. So we can consider this range as R2. Tapos may nakaabang agad tayo dito sa 0.86. So that's R3. So ito yung pwedeng galawan pala ng BRN, no? Pwede siyang mag-breakout sa 0.79 if malakas yung buying pressure pero may mga nakaabang agad na resistances. So, S2 could be this area kasi ito yung previous range niya kung saan nagka-breakout nung July 14. Tapos nagka-support din nung July 25. So, that's 0.64. So, we can consider 0.64 as your S2. So, I'm not sure kung ano yung current hype sa stock na to. So, I seldom read disclosures when it comes to micro cap stocks or mga fourth liners, no? So, madalas kasi hula analysis, madalas chismis analysis lang yung nangyayari dito. And as you can see, wala naman masyadong volume sa stock, no? Even this breakout niya, wala pang masyadong volume compared dito sa nangyari nung July 1. So, much like your BKR and Mark, I'd put them in the same space, no? Pagdating sa mga galaw na ganito. Madalas, puro hype and sentiment driven. So, again, if you're just a beginner trader, hindi mo kaya mag-monitor ng mga stocks, you can't do scalp strategies, you're not familiar with momentum, so mas maganda nang iwasan nyo na, no, yung mga ganitong stocks because in just a span of a few seconds or minutes, pwedeng magkaroon agad dyan ng bentahan. So, tingnan yung nangyari sa BKR tsaka sa Mark, diba? So, etong mga setup na ganito, it's only tradable if you can monitor your positions ng maayos so that you can exit pag nagkakaroon ng selling or you can profit take properly. So, hindi ito yung mga stock na kung saan pinapasok mo because of the dividends or because of fundamental reasons na mag-invest ka. Kasi kung titingnan mo yung S1 near this level, pag nag-breakdown siya dyan, so it's another drop of 13%, no? So, swerte na lang kung nakakuha ka around month of June and early parts of July. Pero sa ngayon, very volatile and very risky na yung mga ganitong galaw. So, the support is around 0.74 and S2 is around 0.64. So, medyo malayo-layo nga siya. Nagkaroon nga pala ng dividends recently. So, may 4% nung July 31. So, despite the dividends is medyo mataas, no? Hindi pa rin siya nag-drop and patuloy pa rin yung pagtaas. So, let's see in the coming days or weeks kung magkakaroon ng disclosures to or kung magkakaroon ng increased volume if there's still a possible play that's coming. Pero ayun nga, no, kung hindi kaya mag-monitor ng mga positions, much like BKR and Mark, best to avoid these type of stocks. So, next up, top or TOP. So, sa top, mukhang nahihirapan na siyang mag-breakout further and mag-move higher. So, first time niyang gawin to na magkaroon ng double top. So, yung kanyang recent swing high kasi is 1.96 and then nag-try siya mag-breakout nung July 29 only for the price of 2 to resist. So, ito na nga yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na whenever stocks are at the ATH, tapos walang basehan ng structure resistance, you can expect the psych resistance or the whole numbers to be the source of selling para sa mga traders, no? Madalas sa mga traders. So, nagkaroon tayo ng 1.96 na resistance. So, ito dapat yung resistance ng top niyan. Tapos, nag-try siya mag-breakout with good volume. Pero, nabentahan lang din. Tapos, hindi niya nalagpasan yung 2. So, ibig sabihin yung 2 na yung R1 natin dito. And the R2, of course, is 3, pero hindi natin sinasabi na pag lumagpas siya ng 2, sa 3 na agad siya pupunta. So, this is just a basis for your possible selling pressure areas when it comes to your psych resistances. Pero, syempre, between 2 to 3, pwedeng yan magkaroon ng selling pa rin because of profit taking, which is caused by traders who are able to buy at lower prices. And, syempre, magbebenta sila and domino effect yan. So, tingnan nyo dito sa price ng top, no? Yung price naglalaro lang sa area na to because, syempre, yung mga nakakuha nakakuha dito sa near IPO prices, so sabihin natin around June, so up na sila ng 400%. Yung mga nakakuha sa unang pullback niya nung second week ng July, up ng 100%. Yung second pullback niya around second week pa rin ng July 17 to 18, up na ng 50%, no? So of course, pag naglabas sila dyan ng malalaking shares, no, pwedeng mag-create ng domino effect yun, maraming traders na matakot, tapos lahat sila magkaroon ng bentahan. So ngayon, yung top is very volatile, so you can expect na ito yung galawan niya na price. So, ayan yung current range ng top, no? And nagiging sobrang laki ng range niya. So, this is the reverse of your accumulation, no? Pwedeng distribution na yung nangyayari. So, it's a possibility that majority of the market players na nakakuha sa ilalim is nagbebenta na ng mga shares nila, no? So, dinidistribute na nila and new market players are entering the stock. So, ibig sabihin, to prevent this distribution from happening, para magpatuloy pa yung stock pataas, then it needs to close above 2 with good volume, no, good buying pressure. Tapos dito siya magkaroon ng consolidation ulit above 2. Tapos hindi na siya bumaba ng 2. So doon natin pwedeng masabi na hindi distribution yung nangyayari kasi maka-counter or manenegate niya yon by means of price going higher and the price continuing its trend. Pero pag ganito lang yung nagiging galaw niya, nagko-consolidate siya, oftentimes distributive na yung ganitong pattern. And mako-confirm natin yan pag nag-breakdown siya dito sa range, which is 151. Which is of course, yung 151 din is yung ating S1. Kasi pag nag-breakdown siya dito sa S1, nakaabang agad yung MA20, no, as the support. And pag nag-breakdown nga sa MA20, so ano yung mangyayari? Either may consolidation or pwedeng mag-decrease talaga yung prices agad because of extreme selling. Kasi syempre, yung mga sumalo din dito, pwedeng mag-cut na din sila, diba? So, magiging dalawa na yung source ng selling pressure mo. Yung selling ng mga iba pang nakakuha dito na hindi pa nagbebenta and yung mga bumili dito that entered the stock thinking na pwede pang tumaas yung stock above 2. So, magiging dalawa yung source ng selling pressure. And pag nagkataon na walang buying pressure na pumapasok dyan, then of course, you'll see a sell down or a sell off happening. And medyo malalim yung next na structure support nito. So 1.11, no, yung S2. Kasi dito siya huling nagkaroon ng structure support and yung resistance natin dito before is 1. So ito yung possible natin na S3. So ibig sabihin pag nag-breakdown tong S1 at hindi siya na-hold ng MA20 kung malakas yung selling, you can expect na dito siya makahanap ng next support around 1 to 1.10. So next up, RRHI. So sa RRHI, big picture agad, it's been in a consolidation since November of last year. October pala, no? October last week and first week November. So ito yung galaw ng RRHI. So, kita nyo naman ang laking consolidation yan. So, ibig sabihin, 10 months, no? Or nearing 1 year, consolidating yung stock. And you can easily identify kung nasaan yung mga swing highs niya. So, ayan, yung mga level na yan. And you can also identify the swing lows. So, ibig sabihin, walang ibang ginawa yung stock kundi mag-range, no? So, pupunta siya sa lower parts ng range niya, pupunta siya sa higher parts ng range, and magko-consolidate. So, taas, baba, taas, baba, taas, baba. So, ibig sabihin, in order for this stock to go into an uptrend, kailangan niyang lagpasan yung mga important levels. And the key area, of course, is the upper part of the range. And if we're going to look sa upper part ng range niya, then that is 42. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung key level niya na resistance, which is 42. And if we're going to look at the immediate resistance for RRHI, then ito yun. That's 39.90. So, mukhang ito yung nagiging R1 niya, no? Around this area. So, that's 39.95 rather. So, ang R1 natin is 39.95 and may swing high tayo dito na 40.90. So that's R2 and ayun nga no, yung 42 price area is the key level kung saan mako-consider talaga natin na strong uptrend siya pag nag-breakout dyan. So medyo malayo pa. So R1 at 39.95, R2 at 40.90, and R3 at 42. Tapos, yung ating S1 is the bottom part of this range. So, 37.60 yung ating S1. And the S2, so you might consider this as a double bottom, no? Sa part na to. So, that means 36 yung ating S2 and 36.15. So, yan yung pwede nating makonsider as S2. So, sa ngayon, consolidating yung stock in the short term. So, ito yung mga possible na gagalawan ng RRHI, no? So, that's between 37 from 38 price area up to 39.95 or even 40. So pag nag-breakdown sa S1, then S2, and if it makes a breakdown sa S2, then expect that it will revisit the bottom part of its range. And pag nag-breakout siya dito sa current swing high niya, so nakaabang agad yung R2. And pag nag-breakout pa siya dyan, then R3 is the next resistance to test and possibly even breakout. So ayan yung ginagawa ng RRHI, no? So ang dami niyang pag-range na ginagawa. So nagko-consolidate nga lang talaga siya. So this is just the smaller box or smaller consolidation of a bigger consolidation. So this means RRHI is in an accumulation phase, no? So whenever a big consolidation happens sa mga stocks na tumaas na ng grabe, it's more of a distributive pattern. So, nakakapag-unload na ng shares yung mga bumili sa baba. And ang reverse nun is yung accumulation or yung accumulative pattern, no? And somehow, ito yung ginagawa ng RRHI for a year. So, may mga bumibili dyan to accumulate the stock. Ang pangit lang dito sa accumulation is that pag nagbe-breakdown siya, of course, pupunta siya sa lower levels. And pag nag-breakdown siya sa lowest level niya, sobra-sobra din yung pwedeng downtrend na mangyari. So, example, mag-breakdown yung RRHI dito. So, paano na lang yung mga taong kumuha dito, 'di ba? So, lahat sila magkakaroon ng fear. So, pwedeng magkaroon ng cut loss, 'di ba? Kasi lahat ng bumili dito, whether that's smart money, market players or seasoned traders, ayaw nilang maipit sa ganitong galaw. So, syempre magka-cut loss yan sila and it's a possibility na mas malakas yung bentahan na mangyari pag nagkaroon pa ng breakdown despite the accumulation. So, definitely ang dapat abangan na prices dito is yung R2 kasi pag nalagpasan niya yan, malapit na siya sa R3 and yung S2 din kasi pag nag-breakdown, pwedeng i-revisit niya yung lower part na levels ng stock na to. So, next up, RCB. So, RCB, I remember reviewing this stock a few weeks ago. So, not sure kung bakit nawala ulit yung mga drawings. Pero, ganun pa rin naman yung itsura ng RCB. So, it's still consolidating. So, probably there's something wrong pagdating sa RCB kasi karamihan ng mga second liner or third liner na bangko tumaas yung price gaya ng AUB, PNB. Pero yung RCB nagko-consolidate lang siya and walang masyadong volume na nangyayari. So, we can see that the stock is consolidating in this level, no? So, since September pa to. So, nearly 1 year. So, 11 months na siyang nagko-consolidate. So, of course, ito yung pwede natin i-consider agad as R1, which is 27.85. So, meron tayong double top dyan. And, pwede na rin natin i-consider as 27.35 area, no? So, range siya actually. Pero yung upper part ng range na yun is yung 27.85. And after that, your R2 is this area. So, yung 28.50. So, meron isa dito na peak niya rin na 28.30. So, since in between siya ng R1 at R2, pwede na talaga natin makonsider pala yung 27.85 up to 28.50 as the resistance range ng stock. So, worth it abangan pag nag-breakout siya sa 27.85 because that would mean 52-week high breakout siya and malapit na kasi siya sa R2 which is your multi-year high resistance. So ito kasi yung resistance ng stock for about 4 years now. So pag nag-breakout dyan, definitely maganda siya abangan because it might make the stock go into a medium term to long term uptrend, no? So, dapat abangan yung ganyang galaw. Pero sa ngayon, parang patay pa talaga yung RCB. Wala masyadong galaw and very illiquid. As you can see, may mga single line or single dot lang sa pattern which indicates na on a specific trading day, sa isang price lang siya nagkaroon ng transaction. So, syempre, hindi maganda yon. Ibig sabihin, walang masyadong buyers, walang masyadong sellers. So, wala masyadong activity sa stock na to which makes it very illiquid. And kung walang activity, kung walang buying and selling, so of course, you won't expect the price to move that much. So ngayon, ang nakikita kong S1 na support nito is possibly this area, 24.05. So ngayon kasi consolidating pa siya eh. And S2 around this area. Range ulit yan sa 23.40 and 23 na price area. So ito yung mako-consider natin as S2 kasi medyo malapit sila, no? So S1 is the overshoot ng support since the second week of May. So, ito yan, yung may green arrow. And the bottom part of the range is yung S2. So, ibig sabihin yung RCB can move around this area before magkaroon ng significant movement. So, tingnan natin no, kung kaya niyang i-break out yung 27.85 in order to test the R2 resistance for a bigger move. So, next up, UBP. So, UBP, akala ko nagkaroon na ng reversal sa stock na to last October, no, last year. So, first time niyang ma-overcome yung MA100 and nagkaroon ng price rally. Pero eventually, namatay lang din. So, it looks like the stock is in a pattern again, which is a descending triangle, no? So, ayan siya, yung upper part ng trend line. So, twice na nagkaroon ng resistance. May confluence pa sa mga MAs, no? Sa MA15 at MA100. And, ito yung support area niya. So, ayan, kita nyo naman, no? Triangle siya, tas pababa. So, I don't consider this as a point B kasi mukhang overshoot lang itong price area na to, no? Nagkaroon ng bentahan, tapos natulak din pataas. So, that is a long wick. So, it probably indicates buying pressure. So, it's still respecting itong support area niya sa trend line na to na nasa baba. But if you want to be really technical about it, then pwede nyo rin yan i-plot. So, it looks like a falling wedge or a descending triangle. But the pattern is still the same, no? It's still a bearish move kapag nag-breakdown. Pero, at this stage, no, at this level, it looks like an early accumulation phase for UBP. So, I'd say early accumulation kasi isang buwan pa lang yung consolidation and yung trend niya before that was a downtrend. Kung makikita nyo, ever since November, pababa talaga yung galaw ng stock, no? So, hindi pa natin masasabi na maganda na yung accumulation niya. So, kumpara nyo yun sa RRHI na isang taon nang nagre-range. Itong UBP, nagkaroon lang siya ng consolidation end of June. So, isang buwan pa nga lang, no? Isang buwan kalahati pa lang. So, tatanggalin ko muna lahat ng patterns and we'll just identify muna yung structure supports. So, definitely your S1 is this price. So, 31.75 yung S1 and your S2 is 31.15 and the resistance around this area, so 33.15, and yung R2 is yung point B ng trend line niya sa taas, so that is your 34.50, and pwede na rin nating isama yung 35. So ibig sabihin yung R1 is 33.12. Balik natin yung trend line kanina, so ito siya. So kung makikita nyo, if UBP makes a breakout from the trend line and kung dito siya magkaroon ng consolidation and mag-breakout siya dyan, magandang milestone yun sa stock because it made a breakout from the descending triangle. So, essentially negating the bearishness of this stock kasi nalagpasan niya yung descending triangle. Tapos, magiging above siya sa lahat ng MAs and na-overcome niya yung first resistance niya. So, that's a significant move sa UBP. Pero, if it doesn't make a breakout sa 35 after that, then it's a possibility na maging ganito kalaki yung consolidation niya. Kasi that means hindi enough yung buying pressure to propel the stock to move higher or make the stock go into a uptrend. So, pag na-exhaust yung buying dyan, syempre, consolidation lang yung mangyari because it's just going to range or stay at a specific price level until it has enough buying pressure para mag-breakout dun sa key level niya na 35 para maging uptrend. And on the down move, pag nag-breakdown siya dito sa S1 ulit, tapos walang buying pressure na pumasok, kagaya nitong July 28, then you'd expect na dito siya ulit mapunta sa 31.15 na price area. And syempre, kung mag-breakdown pa siya sa S2, so tingin tayo towards the left to see kung ano yung next na structure support ng UBP. So medyo malalim and malayo. So we can consider 30.90 as the possible S3. So, previous resistance kasi niya yan. And even this area here. So, I see a previous support sa area na to. Tapos, dyan din nagkaroon ng price interaction, no? So, several years ago. So, ibig sabihin, pag nag-breakdown pala siya dito sa S2, medyo malapit lang somehow yung next support. So, we can consider 30.90 as still part of S2 pala, no? So, range pala yung next na support niya after ng S1. So, it's a possibility na kaya pala nagkaroon ng support dito sa 31.15 is masyado lang napa-advance yung pagpasok ng market players. Nagkaunahan before magkaroon ng support dito sa 30.90 and S3 around 29.83 na level. So, yun yung medyo malalim pala na support pag nag-breakdown sa S2. So, that's still a 4% drop. Pero at current prices, that's still 32. So, may 7% drop pa. So, definitely, there's also something wrong with UBP kasi ang tagal niya ng downtrend, no? Tapos nagko-consolidation pala ngayon. Despite SECB, AUB, PNB already increasing in prices. So, fundamentally, there's something wrong pagdating dito sa UBP kasi other stocks sa sector niya tumataas. tapos siya pababa lang, no? Halos same sila ng condition ngayon ng RCB. At least yung RCB consolidating above lower prices. Itong UBP consolidating at its low prices, which is definitely negative. So let's see in the coming days kung kaya niyang lagpasan itong 33.12 area para somehow manigate niya yung kinikreate na bearish pattern na to, na descending triangle or yung falling wedge, no? So, next stock, Ali. So, sa Ali, meron tayong previous drawings here. And as you can see, nagkaroon ng mga interactions sa nagawa nating mga lines. So, tanggalin ko lang yung mga MAs, no? Para mas clear. So, there's a box here. So, indicating na ito yung range before ng Ali. And it made a good breakout nung June 30. But it made a resistance hit nung July 2 and July 3. So, that's because of this previous support. So, of course, naging resistance yan. So, we can consider this area as a resistance na. So, I was expecting, no, na lumakas dapat yung Ali para magkaroon siya ng enough buying pressure for it to break out from this level. So, that explains itong arrow na to. Kaso, hindi siya natuloy because nagkaroon siya ng pullback, no? And sana punta yung pullback na yon. At first, dito sa upper part ng range niya, so sa 26.15 na area, so makikita nyo nagkaroon ng support dito ng July 16. So zoom in tayo ng onte. Ito siya, pero hindi niya kinaya, no? Bumaba talaga yung stock. And eventually, dito siya nakahanap ng support sa previous resistance niya sa 24.65. So I'll remove all the drawings. So to update the key levels ng Ali sa ngayon. So focus lang muna tayo dito. So the recent swing high is 28.35 and 28.30. So this makes 28.30 and 28.35 as R1. And after that, your R2 is possible na 29.85 up to 30.55. So this is R2. So, yung gitnang range nila na yan. So, ibig sabihin, for Ali to make a significant move higher, kailangan makalagpas siya, no? Sa 30.53, 30.55 na area. And kung ilalabas natin yung mga MAs natin, we can see that Ali is still in a long-term consolidation kasi andito pa rin naman siya sa loob ng bigger part ng range niya. So, ang immediate resistance niya dito, which is R1 talaga, is yung naging double top, no, sa area na to. So, kailangan niya malagpasan yan in order for the stock to move higher and test yung R2. So, itong area na to. And pag nalagpasan niya talaga yan, then that could indicate na confirm na talaga yung uptrend niya in all the time periods of short term, medium term, and long term. And the earliest sign of that is pag nag-breakout siya dito sa range na to. So, sa ngayon, we can still consider this area as S1. So, ayan yung una nating support. So, that's 24.65. And yung S2 natin is this part here kasi meron tayong double bottom dyan, no? So, that's around 22.40 na price level. So, may double bottom tayo na support dyan. So, ayun yung pwedeng galawan ngayon ng Ali. So, around 24.60 to 28.35. So, tingnan natin kung kaya niya mag-breakout sa R1 or magbe-breakdown ba siya sa S1 just to revisit the major support level here sa S2. So, next stock, SCC. SCC, meron ditong previous drawing pero I don't think I reviewed it that much. So, napag-usapan ko lang to ng saglit in relation to DMC because I was reviewing DMC and mentioned sa video na yon that DMC owns majority part of SCC, no? And na-mention ko doon na the reason why DMC is just consolidating or going down is because SCC is doing nothing, no? Nagko-consolidate lang din siya. Tapos since March, pababa pa yung stock. So, of course, wala siyang maitutulong or may co-contribute na maganda sa galaw ng DMC kung yung isa sa mga companies under DMC is not moving. So, ngayon, your SCC is in a consolidation. So, kitang-kita naman natin sa box na yan. And that makes the high of this stock 34.65 as R1. So, yan yung range niya, no? And the next resistance after that, pwede nating makonsider itong 36.50 as R2. So, meron kasi tayo dyan previous support, no? And also, previous resistance kasi niya yun. So, that indicates the red arrow. And of course, yung ating S1 is this level, which is the bottom part ng range. And that price is 31.70. And then S2, that's 31.05. So, pwedeng dito siya maka-encounter ng support after niya mag-breakdown sa S1 or sa range niya, no? If mag-breakdown pa sa S2 because it's somehow near your S1, then the next support is around 28.75 na, no? Medyo malalim. So, S3. So, SCC along with DMC, nagko-consolidate lang siya ngayon in the short term. And since April, so that's 3 months of consolidation. And kung makikita nyo, kada taas niya, no, kada price rally, kada pitik pataas na bebentahan lang din agad. So this means, in order for SEC to have a good trend, kailangan niyang malagpasan yung R1, which is 34.65. Pero mukhang mahirapan siya kasi every time nire-reach niya yung upper part ng range, na bebentahan nga siya, no. Tapos, you can even consider your MA100 as a moving resistance here. Kasi nagkaroon siya ng support dito before eh. So, since naging support siya before, that means role reversal, pwede siyang maging resistance. So, pwedeng gawin ng SEC, no, pag tumaas siya dito, may encounter niya yung MA100 and magkaroon siya ng resist dyan, tapos bumalik lang din siya ulit sa level na to para patagalin yung consolidation. So, medyo matagal pa yung consolidation pag nangyari yun, no? So, paano? Wala naman kasing nangyayaring masyadong positive na sentiment when it comes to SEC. And I think most of the market players who enter this stock prioritize mostly yung dividends talaga, no? Kasi ever since itong SEC, mataas talaga magbigay ng dividends to na more than 10% madalas. So ito, nung April, 3.28 plus 1.97. So that's more than 5%, no? Tapos, by October to November, nagbibigay siya ng 7.35, near 7%. So, 12%, no? So, more than 10% nga. Kaya, ang nangyayari, every time nagkakaroon siya ng price rally, tapos pumasok yung ex-date ng dividends, nagda-drop din siya at nababawi. So, as you can see, sa level na to sa SEC, December 2023, tumaas yung stock. Tapos, nagbigay sila ng dividends dito. And this time, inabot ng halos 10%. So, makikita mo may gap in price. So, from the closing prices, nag-drop siya ng 11%, 10% kasi nga dahil sa dividend. So, yung buong move na ginawa niya, no, from end of December or first week January up to third week to end of March, nawala lang after a few days because of the dividend. Tapos, ganun ulit yung nangyari dito. So, nagkaroon ng 7% na dividend. So, nagkaroon ng price drop. And then, ganun din dito, around 5%. So, nagkaroon ulit ng gap. Tapos, pababa. So, that means, if magre-release ulit sila ng cash divs, no, na near 7%, tapos lalabas siya bandang October. So, if the prices stay here in the consolidation, tapos mag-drop siya ng 7%, so, ibig sabihin, pwedeng mag-breakdown siya sa S2. And, ang mapuntahan niyang price is S3 na support. And if before October, mag-breakdown siya sa S1 or S2, then mas napapalapit siya sa support niya na S3. At kung malasin pa nga na mag-breakdown siya sa S2 tapos magkaroon ng 7% na drop, so sakto doon sa S3 na support. So ibig sabihin, SEC needs to either stay above the MA100 and stay sa range niya na to, or break out from this range and consolidate above 35 price area, or kung mas magiging optimistic pa tayo, mahit niya yung 36.40 plus na R2. So bakit? Kasi kung magsistay siya dito sa range niya na to, tapos mag-drop siya ng 7%, pasok pa rin siya sa range. So, basically, i-continue niya lang yung consolidation niya, no? And if it goes to R2, then pag nag-drop siya ng 7%, at least pag nag-drop siya, above siya ng range niya, which is the previous resistance, pag nag-breakout siya. And it's a possibility na hindi na siya mag-drop ng 7% because some traders would enter and support the stock near the previous resistance levels, no? So, pwedeng 5 to 6% drop lang yung mangyari. Kasi pag nahulog siya, pwedeng matulak towards the future support. So, that can only happen if it makes a breakout dito sa R1. So, yun yung optimistic na scenario natin. Kasi, if price stays here, no, below 33 price area, below 34, then, along with the ex-date na dividends, you'd expect the prices to make a breakdown. And, gaya ng sabi ko earlier, pag mas malas na nag-breakdown siya sa S1 at S2, before the ex-date comes in, by October or November, then, most likely, i-revisit niya yung S3 na support. So, those are the key levels that you need to take into consideration, no? Whether you're going to buy this stock because of the dividend play or capital appreciation, or both capital appreciation and your dividend play. So, ayun lang. That ends the stock chart analysis video for today. So, if you haven't watched my previous videos, I'll paste the links dito sa screen, no, both left and right. So, you can use those videos as reference sa mga na-review ko rin na stocks ngayon. And you can also look sa homepage ng channel ko on how I talked about and reviewed these stocks before. So, again, if meron kayong stock na gusto mo pag-usapan that wasn't mentioned sa video na to, you can just comment down below and i-review ko yan sa next stock chart analysis video. So, ayun lang, and thank you for watching this video.